Namaste everyone. Suprabhatam. Good morning. It's a beautiful morning. We were a little bit worried about what the weather will, be like this morning, but it always have turned out to be very good. Good for that day, good for that moment, good for grounding, and good for to be in alignment with nature. And that's what we promote, that's what we try to practice at the Garden of Prana. So a big warm welcome this morning. Our original plan was to have our yoga session out there. I don't know how many of you know Robert. He's one of I call him the sage in Houston. He has been practicing yoga and teaching yoga for several decades, 50 plus years of experience. A wonderful person. So we are happy to have him here. He's part of the Prana faculty. We have 4 or 5 such learned yogis and yoginis. So today Robert is the one who will ground us. And once that is done, then we'll have Dr. Valli talk to us about millet and anything and everything that you want to know about what it does. So food is the integral part of our life. We cannot survive without. Breathing is one, so prana. And then part of that is also food. So let's just get into it. So over to you, Robert. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I started practicing physical yoga in 1958, and it was a spontaneous occurrence. And my mother looked at me and she's washing dishes, and I crossed my right leg over my left leg and my left leg over my right leg, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing yoga." She said, "What's yoga?" She's a school teacher, college educated, so on. There were no books on yoga. And she said, "What's yoga?" I said, "Well, the easiest way I can explain. It's an Eastern exercise form, but there's a lot of philosophy and other things that I can't explain to you." He said, "Well, who taught it to you?" I said, "No one did. I remember it." And inside your heart, there is the memory of what is truth. It is said that wisdom is an experience. Wisdom is not an answer. This is like from someone like Osho. Whether you like Osho or not doesn't make any difference. Because Namaste doesn't discriminate. Namaste recognizes the life in you is also the life in me. That which is sacred in you. When you come and you visit, then my prayers are answered. That the great being has come and visited you. You took form. And we can learn from each other. And it's important to understand that we can learn from each other. Each of you carries something unique. And so for every person you meet, however revered or otherwise, you can learn something. And so I have one prayer. My one prayer is, let me be your arms and legs. That's my prayer. And was many years ago, many years ago. I got initiated into Gayatri Mantra. And one of the things they say, we have a lot of women here, some moms too, and they say a mom never has to get initiated into Gayatri Mantra because by nature of her service, she can receive it. So I'm not going to do Gayatri Mantra in Sanskrit. I'll do a slight representation. In this moment, as we're here, in this beautiful place, I bow to the source of all life. May that direct my understanding. And that's enough to know whether or not I chant or not so material. So there are different positions. Any position is fine. But the most important thing is to learn to run prana properly. And the alignment of the spine becomes important in that. In Western fitness, there's a lot of talk about tucking the tailbone under and tightening the abdomen. But that doesn't run maximum prana. To run maximum prana, there's a specific way that you align, and that's the first thing that we do. We have all this prana here, so take it in. And how do you do that? As you advance in yoga, I've done yoga for physical yoga, all kinds of yoga. Tibetan forms of yoga. I've looked at Taoism. I've looked at all kinds of different forms. I've had teachers that escaped the Forbidden City when the communists took over. Killed acupuncturists for the last emperor, so forth and so on. I've had lots of great teachers, and the one thing that I find, in all cases, Namaste still holds. Regardless, it still holds. And when you look at the depth of those teachings, and I have gone into the depths of those teachings, what do you find? You find that the same thread of truth that you find in some of these other teachings show up in the yoga as well. And sometimes it takes some years to sort of find out what's essential. So let's say, this is not all going to be talking, let's say we have this amount of truth in some system of some name, and we have this amount of truth in some system of some different name, and they overlap, and you have 12 different systems where they all overlap. There might be some unique things that you can learn something from, but they have commonality. And what I do is I teach from the commonality. And I can talk about it. So if you become interested a little bit later, I mean, we're here to gratefully learn about millets and improve our well-being in that way. One very brief little story. There was a young person, psychologist, that I met a few days ago. They had been sick for a few years, 3 or 4 years. No energy, tremendous amount of pain. And what position was she in when she walked in? She walked in, I said, sit next to me. Why do you sit next to someone? So you can feel the energy. So if you're close to someone, if you feel secure, you can sit next to them. And you can talk to them. And what happens when people talk? There's an exchange of energy. So if I do my practice, which I did about 4:30 this morning, I do my practice and I come here, then whatever energy I picked up is partially a gift for you. I practiced because in order to honor you, I have to carry something. But is it mine? Because I'm not this body. I'm not this body. And you are not that body. Because namaste, you use namaste. Why would you use namaste? You use namaste because of what it means. And it's not a social greeting. You don't say namaste. That's Texas. Okay? I mean, it still works. It's okay. That's fine. Why do you do this? Why do you take your hands like this? If I take my hands like this, then there's an energy that comes down and runs down front of the body and comes into the heart. There's an energy that comes from base of the spine and comes up. And there are different pathways for this. We're not going to talk about that today. But the reason you do this, and just take a moment, and however you're grateful for your life, because your life is a gift. It's a gift. And the breath is a gift. And this moment is a gift. It's not guaranteed. It's a gift. And so in this practice, become the arms and legs of the most beautiful thing, of the source of your life. And after a while, in this place, heart will open. I'm a physicist by education, and I've done lots of scientific work of all kinds. And there was one group of doctors and mathematicians and so on that I worked with. And they said, we found the perfect algorithm, shall we say. They didn't know how to write it. They came to me to like, can you solve this problem? Can you give us an equation for? And I looked at the curve and all the little bumps in the curve under this. And they said, we don't know how to get there. And you know what it was? You know what the curve was? Once I finally solved it, so forth and so on. Loving kindness. It was a representation graphically of loving kindness. That's what it was. And they say that loving kindness. They got a patent. They got a U.S. patent on it. They said, this represents perfect health. And that if you can go to this state, it'll heal whatever it is that's going on inside of you. And there are many gifts that we're given to enable us to do that. So enough said. As you're sitting there, if you hold your head up to the sky, Just get the very top of the head to float up to the sky. Then you're not trying to create too much muscular action. And you could push down with your hands on your upper thighs and shift a little bit from side to side. Because you have fascial lines that run through the body. And we could go to all kinds of detail and that kind of thing. But if I twist a little bit from side to side, what begins to happen is if I have a tight line, little finger is shorter than the middle finger. So if I twist, what happens? The tightest area lets go first. So when I do very soft twisting side to side, what begins to happen? Okay, is this yoga yet? Okay. There's all kinds of things that's called yoga out there. And as I twist from side to side, you begin to loosen some of the tight tissue. Okay, I'm going to jump into this very quickly. So if I were to take a leg out, you can do it in a chair, that's fine too. If I float my head up toward the sky, front of the spine gets a little longer. If I press my legs apart, I'm going to do it a different way. Just crossed like this. You could have the knees folded. But if I cross my legs and I press the legs apart, what happens? Muscles in the front of the lower spine let go. So when the outer hip and thigh activate strongly enough, I'll use some language. These muscles on the outer hip and thigh cause a reflex release in psoas. What does psoas relate to? Kidneys. What might be cleared out from kidneys? Fear, stress, let's just say that. Okay. So if I'm sitting in this kind of position, you don't have to, but if you're sitting in this kind of position, you could be sitting in a chair, that's fine. And the knees press apart. Watch what happens to my body when the knees press apart. And if you know about musculature, what turned on? Glute max. Right? Because there's a rotation at the hip joint. So it's an external rotation. If I press the lateral hips out to the side, glute medius turns on. And what does that do? Glute medius releases psoas. If I create that curvature in my lumbar spine, and then I take my hands out toward my knees, just do that. Hands going forward, arms pressing apart, shoulders, upper arms rotating out. And I'm not squeezing my shoulder blades together. I'm letting my arms go forward. Okay? You're not going to see people meditating with the shoulder blades squeezing together and their head forward, because the head will go forward, right? And what are you going to do? You block the energy going up into the head. So what do we want to do? Arms go forward. Shoulder blades down, shoulder blades forward, chest lifted. What pulls the shoulder blade forward? Serratus anterior. What does that relate to? Lungs. What does that relate to? The grief you might be carrying, or the grief you're trying to encourage the release of from someone that you're with. So sometimes if you meet people, you might find, if you're very calm, they might break into tears just being energetically around you. And why does that happen? Because we share the energy. Just like we're sharing the earth, just like we may share food at some point. Whatever you carry inside of you affects the person next to you or across the world. You want to improve the world? The point of power is in the present. Point of power is here. It's not somewhere else. It's here. You want to change the world? Start here. That's where you start. So when you're sitting, if knees press apart, hips press apart, shoulders press apart, head floats up toward the ceiling, and I let the chin lift up just enough so the face and forehead relax. You feel the face relax. And when I come to that particular place, eventually you can feel the body start to relax. Maximum prana, from my experience, and from the experience of some of my teachers, but more important, from my experience, because I'm going to speak to you from my experience. The energy will come into you. And if I inhale, where am I going to inhale? Do the chakras start up at the lungs? Or do the chakras start up at the bottom of the spine? It starts off at the bottom of the spine. So if I inhale, if I'm going to inhale, what do? Inhale from the base. So I'll distend my lower abdomen, maybe pelvic floor, and let the pressure build up, but not too much pressure on the heart, because I don't want to put pressure on the heart. When yogis get very advanced, sometimes breathing will stop. Sometimes heart will stop for some period of time. And so you float in that place because you are not a body. You are not a body. You're a spirit. And you get used to this body you were gifted with. And what is appreciation for that body? You have a great master who will teach us about how to take care of proper food for the body. So how you treat your body becomes very important. Now if I'm here and I just twist, there is something called Ardha Matsyendrasana. And when I was a young guy, very young, they said, this will awaken Kundalini if you do this particular twist. So if I twist to one side, we could do it a variety of ways. I could have a leg out. That's what I was going to do earlier. I could have a knee up. Or you could be in the chair. You twist, lengthen the abdomen. Exhaling, twisting. Inhaling, releasing. Now, if I twist, you can watch it happen. If I twist a certain amount, and then I press this back leg farther back, press the legs apart, because one hand's pulling, one hand's pushing, or one knee is pushing. When I press the legs apart, I'll go deeper. If I press the shoulders apart, I'll go deeper. If I float my head toward the sky, I'll go a little deeper. And so I'll exhale and twist, and then inhale and relax. And it becomes a cycle. And what's understood in this cycle is that it generates energy in the body. You stretch the fascia. Fascia is piezoelectric. It generates some electric currents. Hidden in the fascia are acupuncture meridians. The acupuncture meridians don't belong to the Chinese. They belong to your body. So I can exhale and twist. And if you're very young and tired of being in that particular position, we can go into much deeper positions. Okay. I can balance on my arms with one elbow here. So if that appeals to you, you want to try it, go ahead and do it. But otherwise, we'll just go to the other side. So as I exhale, I twist. And as I inhale, expand lower abdomen, pelvic floor, chest. Knees press apart, hips press apart, shoulders press apart when I exhale and twist. And what it begins to do is it runs currents. I mean literally electrical currents through the spine and through the fascia. And what happens when those currents run through the fascia? It breaks the biochemical markers of stress. It strips it away. And so sometimes we have people that are suffering a lot, like this young woman I saw a few days ago, Wednesday evening, who was very sick. And at the end of very simple exercises like this, it's like, oh, I feel so much better. I can't believe something that simple could make so much difference. Alright, so a little bit of twisting. Exhale, twist, inhale, release. Now there is a famous idea that if you want to improve your forearm, you need to stretch your hamstrings. This is very common. And what lifts my foot up? If I lift my foot up, what lifts my foot up? If I pull on the foot, because I want the foot to go up, and I decided it's my foot, and foot, I'm going to grab you and you're going to go up. This is called colonialism. This is what it is. It's colonialism. But if the power in the leg lifts the leg up, then neurologically the hamstring lets go. So it's not a question of forcing the body into something. Take care of the gift. But understand that the hamstrings let go because the quadriceps got strong enough to lift the leg. But if you lift that leg, you're going to feel, depending on your calmness of mind, you will find that's painful. Okay? Now if you've done it for a long time, it's not painful. Now what do people usually do to lift the leg? They'll collapse their abdomen. Maybe they tuck their tailbone under. I don't recommend that because what does that do? It reduces the prana flowing up. So if I make myself very straight and tall, keep the arch of my back, try not to lean back, because I can lift my foot just by leaning back and tightening the abdomen. And then I feel nothing here. And then it's like, that yoga's really not effective. I'm going to go lift weights. No. The yoga is effective. It is. So as I press down and I make my spine very long, and I lift my chin so my face and forehead relax, shoulders going slightly apart, slightly forward, hips pressing apart, and then I lift that leg, you will feel your thigh. And if you feel your thigh strongly enough, it will open your mouth or cause your eyes to scrunch up, right? Okay. That's not part of the yoga, it's just an effect. So now if we do the other side, same thing. So how am I going to improve my forward bend? Do I have to straighten my knee to improve my forward bend? No. First joint you're going to open is the hip. Why do you want the hip to open? Because if I'm going to sit for meditation and I tuck my tailbone under, then the amount of prana running through my spine will decrease. It won't increase. And if I'm in a position not creating tremendous muscular action in the lower back or tension in the bones in the lower spine, but
But I line up when my head is floating up. Knees press apart, hips press apart, shoulders press apart. Am I going to do this forever? Activate those muscles? No. When I'm in meditation, I don't. What happens? If I just start off, press the knees apart, press the hips apart, press the shoulders apart, lift the chin until the face and forehead relax, and then balance, and I let go of all the muscular action. And you feel lighter. That's prana. Now the prana can flow. Prana is not gritting your teeth and trying real hard. It's aligning your spine. And when it's done properly in any yoga pose, you find the pose it requires less effort. Eventually, when you master it, it requires more effort, so you can hold it for a long period of time. Long period of time. Not only that, you can go into a meditative state and hold it. And you come out, and it's like the body's been taken care of, and you feel really good. You go into deep sleep. You don't remember what happened. What happens in ancient yoga, movement with breath, becomes really important. Now there's another leg. Take my left leg out, press my fingers down. And if I reach that heel out and lift the foot up, if I rotate my foot out too much, then my inner thigh will get tight. So what do? You have very slight internal rotation. So when I press my legs apart, you may not be able to see it, but when I press my legs apart, as soon as I turn on the lateral hips, the thighs rotate in very slightly. And so if I have a slight internal rotation of the leg, and I lift that foot up, you get a very sharp contraction in the upper quadricep. So I tell people, oh, if the quadriceps get stronger, then the hamstrings will let go. That is true. That means when you're in a flow bend, the upper quadriceps turn on. So if you know about B.K.S. Iyengar, Latin Yoga, very famous yoga book, what would Mr. Iyengar say? It's like, in standing poses, you contract the upper quadricep. You're not stretching the hamstring. He would go into poses and say, like, push on the muscle, and you come and you put it, and the muscle's really strongly contracted. He wasn't just standing there. Okay? That's vagrancy. That's not yoga. So the idea is, what do you want to do? You want to become very involved in the body. Feel the prana flowing. The prana contracts the muscle. In the beginning, the mind wants to contract the muscle. Muscle is not contracted from the mind, because then you fatigue. You contract it from the muscle by the prana going there. All right, let's take it a little bit of a different way. Very different way. You can bend the knee in whatever position, or if you're on a chair, that's just fine. Now what happens if I catch my hand behind my knee and I pull the foot back? So I'm going to lift the foot up, swing the leg back. How's the leg go back? I could pull with my hand, but that's colonialism. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pull back, bilateral grip. The outer hip pulls the leg back. And what happens if the outer hip pulls the leg back? Then the inner thigh will let go. So people say, my knees are up. It's difficult to meditate because it rounds my body forward. And so they put you on a chair, or they put you on a block to flatten the spine, because you need to reestablish the curvature in lumbar spine. How do you know that? I know Himalayan monks that will go and give blessings from their own practice to you. Very generous people. They don't want anything from you. They just want to give to you. why do you do it? And said it very directly. It's like, I was in my cave in Himalayas and I saw you were suffering. And that's why I came. You can't give me anything. I don't need anything from you. And who do you want? For a teacher, someone that doesn't want anything from you. So there are these great masters, and what do? They say, if you sit very tall, now the energy will run. You won't fatigue. Why do you fatigue? You fatigue because if I'm in this kind of position, microwaving my brain with a cell phone, there are infrared signals every 5 seconds out of a cell phone. So people like to put this there. It's a setup. Don't fall for it. Put it a little further away. Don't use it so much. You want energy? It's a good source right there. Get some of that. And where do you get it from? Under the trees. You're not going to get sunburn, but what happens? The trees will scatter the infrared electromagnetic energy. And what happens? Oh, mitochondria. Do I need a power drink? No. Have some sunshine. Have a little breathing. So what happens if I'm in this particular position with the spine nicely lifted? And I eventually develop great strength on the outer hip and thigh. What do I notice? As people get older, outer hip and thigh weaken. When outer hip and thigh weaken, they start losing energy. Then they start having hip problems, back problems, sacral problems, so forth and so on. Can be worse for females because they have fewer ligaments holding the sacrum to the pelvis. So if you hold this kind of position, then the energy will continue to run. And if I breathe, if I just take a deep inhale, expand lower abdomen, you can expand rib cage a little bit, not too much pressure on the heart. Don't let the pressure go up into your head. And then you exhale. And how do you exhale? You draw lower belly in toward the spine. I'm not going to collapse my rib cage. Don't collapse the rib cage. So as I inhale, expand pelvic floor, expand lower abdomen. Head floating up toward the sky. Hold the breath for a little bit, whatever's comfortable. And you have to practice breathing. What happens if you don't practice breathing? Acidity in the blood goes up, and then all kinds of other things happen. So you say, if I breathe too much, I get lightheaded. Okay, practice breathing until you get lightheaded. If you get lightheaded and you still want to breathe, lie down. Then if you pass out, you're already down, so it's okay. But the idea is practice your breathing, because you have to increase your capacity to take in oxygen. You say, how can I have more energy? I want to burn something. I want to burn the vegan cheese I ate last night, or whatever people eat, right? How do you do that? Well, you eat some oxygen. Are there other ways to do it? Yeah, there are other ways to do it. Most important thing, I'm not going to keep this too long. Most important thing is make the spine as long as possible. Always. Because what happens, you can tell if somebody's sitting like this, you're not going to go up to them and say, are you okay? No. But if they're like this, then you pulling their hair out, okay? There's no questioning what happens. So I had this young person in that position. It's like, sit up tall. And they start explaining their life. And I don't need to hear their life, because I already know what's going on. I don't have to know details. They're suffering. That's all I need to know. And what do you need to do? Straighten your spine, take a deep breath. You can do it anytime. Take a deep breath. Hold it for some comfortable period of time. No strain. We're not trying to impress anybody, including yourself. And then when you exhale from the lower abdomen, but you hold the posture. So how do I draw lower belly in toward the spine? I'll show you right now. If I take my fingers in toward my lower abdomen, you can do it or not, it's up to you. And watch what happens if I engage muscles on the pelvic floor. Maybe you've heard of something called Mula Bandha. Maybe you've heard of some other forms of contraction on the pelvic floor. There's 3 different contractions that are used. They use that kind of thing in some other systems too. Chinese, Tibetan, whatever it is. And what happens when I engage? All I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up the pelvic floor perineum. So for female, mouth of cervix. For male, prostate, center of prostate. And what do I do when I contract? Oh, look, lower belly draws in. Toward doing that. Okay. I don't need to tuck my tailbone under. I don't need to tighten my abdomen. And so if I exhale, just from that little lower area, then pelvic floor will tend to lift up. So what will happen? Question of incontinence will go away. That is true. So it's one of the things that you need to do. What happens if someone smokes too much, maybe, or nobody's smoking here, maybe? They could get emphysema. How do you die of emphysema? The mucus builds up in the lower lungs, and slowly they suffocate. It just builds up and builds up and builds up. So yoga has a very, and that's the last thing I'm going to talk to you about. The yoga has a technique called Kapalabhati. And if I exhale from the lower abdomen, you can do this or not. You can just do deep breathing. That's fine. Just breathe. If I exhale from lower abdomen, very sharply, it'll force the air out. Now when I force the air out, the air could go into the inner ear and put pressure on the inner ear. So what do you do instead? I'm almost done here. You grip at the throat. So if I inhale, as I'm inhaling, there's a slight restriction at the throat. What does it do? It does at least 3 things. One thing it does is it gives you a point of focus. Okay, maybe 4 things. It gives you a point of focus. So if I make a very uniform sound as I'm inhaling, so as I'm inhaling, it slows the breath down. I can focus on the sound of the breath. Now mind has something it can hold on to. It's another story I'd like to tell you, but I'll tell you later. So as I'm inhaling and exhaling, you hear that sound. Mind is focused on the sound. What does the sound do? The sound creates a vibration in the throat. What does that do? It stimulates the vagus nerve. Calms you down. If I do it firmly enough or long enough period of time, what does it do? It affects a branch in the carotid artery, carotid sinus. You stimulate it. What does that do? It tells the heart that the blood vessels leading to the brain feel a little extra pressure. So what does the heart do? It drops blood pressure 3, 4, 5 points. Just from doing that. Just from doing Ujjayi breathing. Can you do it in the office? Yeah, I used to design reformers. Did I do it in the office? Yeah. Were people smoking in the office? Yeah. So I got a electrostatic filter, negative ion generator, and purified my air. So I could do enjoy breathing. So I could solve the problems I had been hard to solve. You do this breathing, right? What else does it do? That vibration can be felt in the sinuses. What happens when it's felt in the sinuses? It increases production of nitric oxide, relaxes blood vessels. Now you have better blood flow throughout the body. So now, you're relaxed, mind is focused on this process, oxygen's taken in. And this is a good place to do it because the air is really good. You do it by an air conditioner, it is not going to give you the energy you want. Okay? What do? Say, okay, it's too hot to go outside. Open a window. Do it early in the morning. That'll be useful. Alright, I probably need to wrap this up because I'll get carried away and talk far too long. I may have already. Any questions about anything? There's a lot more to this. This is just an introduction to yoga. An introduction to breathing. So can I do this sound breathing all the time? Yes, absolutely. So what happens when you do it for a long period of time? So I inhale. And you make a sound. You make this ujjayi breathing. Eventually, and I'm not going to waste your time. That can go on for a very long time. What am I doing? I'm affecting blood pressure. Because I was making the sound, I have a back pressure into my lungs, so oxygen transfer into the blood goes up. Could you use some extra oxygen? Yeah, probably. It'll be useful. That way you can burn your chocolate cake if you're eating that. So if nothing else, you get the spine very straight and tall. Float your head toward the sky. And then what are you doing as you're doing this kind of breathing? You offer that little bit of practice to the source of your life in appreciation. That you can look around to the people in this very room that you love. Those eyes are not there forever. They're there now. You want to help the people around you? Help yourself first. Prayer. Let me be your arms and legs. Then namaste means something. That's it. We can go on with the program. Thank you for your patience.